Welcome back, ladies and gents. We're here for episode 6 of the Digimon World playthrough. We ended last episode talking to this little cat about bandits. Now, bandits, we're not going to let those idiots fly on our turf, and they have no idea of the pain train that's coming their way. What we will quickly do is, before we head off in that direction, is we rounded up the last episode showing you Monochromon, but we didn't actually show you Tyrannomon or Centauramon, who we also got. Another thing that we've added to the town is this little fountain feature, which I guess is kind of cool. Betamon looks like he's kind of going Casper on us in full invisibility mode. And we've also got Bakumon, who, as always, just talks in Bakumon language. So, over here, we now have a new building. And this is the Centaur Clinic. So in here we're going to find Colemon from earlier, who's now chilling on a stool, and the four-legged quadruped himself. Hello, Willface. Surprise! I opened up a clinic. Ironic, because my last job was shooting people in the middle of a forest. It's for treating sickness and injuries. It's not free, but it will be cheap. So basically, we can buy medicine from Centauramon, we can also rest with Centauramon, and also if we get injured in battle, or we get sick from being in a location that is not favourable to our Digimon, we can come to the clinic and get healed up, basically. So it's an extra feature to have, and we're not going to complain about that. Moving over here to the restaurant, last time we only had Meramon in here, but now we also have a new chef, who is currently not on duty apparently. Well, that's just great. But for your reference, Tyrannomon does appear in there as well, and he offers us different dishes, and still probably overpriced as shit, which is just great for us in our early days, trying to save up every nickel and bit of silver we can find. But yeah, that's there if we decide to use that later on. Might come into play when we're trying to buff our weight, because although the stat gains that come with some of the expensive meals, they're not that great. Sometimes the dishes can put your weight up 3 or 4 at a time when you eat it. So in that regard, it might be slightly worthwhile to go and grab a munch. So when we were visiting the god-awful nightmare that is Monochromon shop, we headed over the invisible bridge to Great Canyon, but we only had a little peek in the last in the Great Canyon area that the shop was in. We didn't go any further, so we're going to do a bit more exploring across there today and find out where these asshole bandit crew is, because that needs to get sorted out. Phil's going to go to sleep here, which is actually quite convenient, because when we sleep, we're going to get all of our, or the vast majority of our HP and MP back, so we're not going to have to waste any recoveries. Luckily, we did actually pick up some HP and MP before we left the city at the end of the last episode, so we're pretty good to go on that front. And we walked backwards into Great Canyon, which wasn't intentional. The Garurumon that's there can sometimes be a Meteormon, or it's like a Gotsumon, one of those kind of guys during the day, and you can actually learn Buster Dive from one of those guys, I believe. I've seen a move that looks like it, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. So maybe one day we can come back and pick that move up, but for now we're just going to head on our way. So this is a new part of Great Canyon. So we've got a fork in the road here. We can go left or we can go right. Now it's quite important which one we choose, because both lead to mysterious circumstances which I will not disclose, but for this point in time we're going to head up to the right. I heard this road is where the bandits attack. Let's go, Phil. So we've obviously got balls of steel. I mean, if the bandits want to fuck with us, it's going to be their mistake. And here we go, right on time. We've got Gandalf and the fuckboys. Give up and leave your stuff or else, says Ogremon. No, you give up, mate. I don't know if you know, I don't know how they do it around here, but in Scotland, you want to watch yourself with this kind of nonsense. So we're gonna have our best go at messing these guys up. That move there that Agumon just dumped on us is Fire Tower. That big pillar there. Now, Fire Tower is an okay move. I don't actually think we have Fire Tower yet, but there's a chance we pick it up if we don't already have it. There's an insane move later on in the game called Infinity Burn, which is more... It's basically used by Ultimate Digimon, in which you Fire Tower all enemies in the surrounding area at once, and that can be a really badass move. Luckily, we won't have to fight anybody who uses Infinity Burn just yet, but later on, in the harder aspect, or the harder parts of the game, we will be dealing with that kind of nonsense. I'm actually going to use a medium recovery here, because we're taking a lot more pain than I expected. The main problem of fighting against these guys is not necessarily how much damage they do, but the rate of which they attack you, and how often they interrupt you. So maybe we could have actually, in hindsight, done a bit more training before coming to fight these guys, but I actually think we'll be okay. We're going to spend quite a bit of... We're going to waste a lot of the materials and that we've spent a lot of money on, which is quite annoying. But hopefully, what we'll do is we'll wait until... Let's use an MP floppy. We'll wait until this other Agumon dies before popping our ult, because we don't want to get cucked by some ridiculous nonsense. We're going to try and ult here. Nice. And this might not be a foot. Oh, never mind. Right in the butt. There we go. How'd you like them apples? I'm going to take that right in the face and give him one back, which obviously, because Karma loves us, we're going to get blocked on us. But this, or hopefully one of the next few attacks, should be enough to finish Ogremon. There we go. Perfect. So we actually used a lot more resources than we needed to there, which was my mistake, but at the same time it worked out, so I'm not too sad. We're going to get a decent amount of stats, a tiny bit of money, nowhere near covering the amount of resources we spent, but most importantly, Ogumon is going to drop us another HP chip, and Agumon's going to drop us a small recovery, so we get a bit of return on that. So Gandalf and the fuckboys are going to run to the north here and escape for now, but obviously we're not gonna let that fly, and we're going to chase them. So what we're going to do is I have to make a decision here, because that fight that we just had didn't go as smoothly as I wanted it. What I should have done, again in hindsight, should have went into here and we should have equipped Heat Laser, because Heat Laser, although again as we discussed earlier on, does less damage, but it would have given us the ability to attack all of the enemies at once, which is quite good for these sort of bandit battles in which you're outnumbered 1 to 3 usually. So we have to basically find out where these wankers have fled to here in the canyon, and luckily there's an elevator nearby and I know where we're going, so we're going to go down here. What I'm actually going to do... Oh, so we've got a rare drop here. This is the entrance to the fortress in which the douchebags are hiding in. But there's not just those guys and one battle waiting for us. There's other little shitty battles in between, which can be quite annoying. So our stats aren't looking too great. Our HP's fine, but 14 MP floppies, 8 medium recoveries. We could just go for it and see how we get on. Our inventory's full, so we can actually pick this up. That is a prickly pear. And although we don't want to use it because prickly pears lower your Digimon's weight, we could actually sell it for a small profit, which could be quite useful. Let's take the HP chip and give that to Phil, which he took straight away, which I'm glad. We can't actually benefit straight off the bat from that HP chip, because although we have popped up our HP 500 there, it's not going to give us that HP back. It's sitting as an empty part of our health bar right now, so we won't benefit from that until we actually use a health item during battle. So welcome to the Ogre Fortress. Now if I was a good player, I could dodge through most of these battles. Now I'm not really that good a player, so we're going to try our best and try and avoid as much of these silly encounters that we don't necessarily need to take. So I'm going to just go for it here, try and sneak in. I don't actually know what's in this computer, I can't remember. A double flop, so that's actually quite useful for one of the battles coming up. So let's see, do we want to drop the prickly pear? I think we might have to, honestly. We don't want to get rid of the restore, because that is like our saving grace if we manage to fuck this up. We don't want to drop our Digimushrooms and our autopilot's quite important. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to discard the prickly pear, which is a shame, but you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to grab this, and we're going to try and get past this little Gabumon here when he rotates. So I'm just going to nip in behind you. And just like that, we've avoided the first room, which is handy. Now, one of these rooms you get chucked. Yeah, this one here. I think we're going to... Oh, maybe if we get lucky here. You can actually get in... You know how there's a small gap in the wall there? You can actually... No, that's not going to work. Fuck. If you're fast enough, you can get into that gap and avoid these guys. But we're going to try it, see how we get on. You have to be quick as fuck. And these guys run past... Phil is actually cucking us right now. Yeah, okay. So... Right, this isn't as bad as it could have been. Phil actually got in the way there. Normally the enemies run directly past you and you can slip past them without having to fight. But because Phil loves us so much, his fat ass is going to get in the way and end up shoving the Agumon into us, which is pretty annoying, but I mean, what could we do without Phil at this point, right? So we're going to use our double flop just to get the item out of our inventory, but also to get a bit of our HP and MP back, and then kick this guy's ass. Now, one of the enemies fled from the battle, which is quite good, because it saves us having to waste mana, saves us having to waste HP, and basically saves us time overall. Because that basically what happens is sometimes when you enter a battle with multiple enemies, there's a chance that one or two of them actually run away and flee. So that's what happened with Gabumon there. The other, I think it was Gabumon that was in the frame, or Agumon, he's actually out of the frame and to the left, so we can still bang into him by accident. We're going to try and avoid that if we can. If my stupid ass can actually manage some sort of outmaneuver in here. So we've got another box over here, and I think this is like a porta potty or an autopilot or something, if memory serves correct. Autopilot's sick, so that can stack on top of the autopilot we've already got. In this, oh god, in that metal sheet there, a room opens once we clear this place, and we definitely want to be heading in there right afterwards. This room is particularly interesting. When, or if you have ever watched anyone speedrun this game, there's a really neat little trick that you can do, in which you walk up to this fridge here, you basically unpause the game, you walk back to a line in the floor, and then you can basically walk through these Agumon. Now, I have never been able to do it. I don't know exactly what the trick is, but that is a possibility, and when you watch it happen, it's actually really, really cool. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to fight these douchebags because we're not as good as the speedrunners that run this game. So we're just going to have to drop a colossal fuck ton of pain on these wankers and kick some ass. This battle is not hard because it's 3 Agumon, but it is frustrating, again, because you've got 3 different enemies shooting Spitfire at you at once. We're going to do a lot of move cancelling here, or they're going to cancel Phil quite a lot. We're going to lose a lot of MP not actually getting our attacks off, which is the most important or most annoying thing when we have little MP. It's going to force us to burn a lot of our floppies, unfortunately. But we've already managed to get one Agumon down so far, which is quite good. And that'll save us a bit of hassle during this fight. These guys have got quite high attack speeds, so they do manage to like get a lot of hits in between you trying to cast your abilities, which is frustrating, but what can you do? We're going to use up our small recoveries here rather than our medium recoveries until we've got about 2 or 3 small recoveries left, in which case we will start using our medium recoveries. And the reason I like to leave a couple of small recoveries in your inventory is because although that takes up the majority of your inventory space, it's quite flexible to have a few of each, so that you don't end up burning a medium recovery to heal a tiny portion of your health like what we've got just now. So we're going to kick this guy's ass. One more hit should do the trick. We've got our ult, we're going to use it here. And we didn't get interrupted, which is good. Going to max blast this guy in the face with the old Mega Flame. And with that, we managed to kill these guys. Sometimes there is a chance that these guys drop 3 small recoveries. We've not hit that RNG this time, unfortunately, but that is a possibility, and sometimes that's a nice payback for fighting those guys. So one day we might figure out how to do the walk between the Agumon without having to fight them, but for now I don't know how to do that. These guys, they don't run at you, and they also don't fight you, because this is the Ogre boss room. If you can see fucking Gandalf's fucking feet sticking out the bottom there, he's ready to fight us as soon as we walk up. We're going to check this chest. It's a porta potty, which isn't that great, because although it's handy for us, I've never explained this before, guys, sorry, I always do this, but porta potty basically lets you go to the bathroom anywhere. Which can be quite a good save if you're in awkward places like Drill Tunnel and things like that, and Phil decides that he needs a dump. Because Phil likes to often decide that he needs a dump when we're in awkward spots. Ogre, did you come here to lose? That's my line, bitch. I'm holding nothing back this time, and I'm going to make you cry. We'll see about that, punk. We'll see about that. So here we go. The best thing about fighting Ogremon and his fuckboys, in my mind, is that they often slap each other about by accident, which is extremely satisfying to watch. The move that I like when Ogremon does the best is the one when he hits the ground and the boulders fly up. Again, this one here. I don't know what that's called, but often he will take out part of the Agamons by accident. We're actually going to throw in our medium recovery here and get ourselves topped up so we don't get one shot by something silly. Ogremon's actually going to do most of the work for us in killing his cronies with the boulder smash of death. One thing to talk about, there's heat laser, nice. I'm glad we actually got one of those off, because I was beginning to think that Phil wasn't going to be using that. One thing that we don't have right now is high brains on Phil, and because of that we still are limited to our 2 commands of your call and attack. Now later on, when your brains get up really high into like the 400-500 part, you can actually choose which abilities to move when fighting. So there's a bit more skill involved, because, I say skill, but you know what I mean. Picking and choosing the moment in which you're going to use certain abilities. And you have a bit more flexibility in battle. So towards the beginning I would have been using a lot more heat lasers to try and hit all of the enemies at once. And then later on use some of the more confined moves on the harder guys. The ones that use a lot of mana but do max damage. We've actually... Well, later on we'll pick up a few moves that are really powerful, but we won't be able to equip them yet, because sometimes they've got a long wind up, they take a long time to cast, and often you'll be interrupted. We're just going to use our ult here because we've been sitting on it for a while. The battles went on a while, and therefore the enemies are tired, they won't interrupt us as much, so we're just going to use that there. But yeah, the big powerful moves often have a long wind up, in which Phil will take a long time to cast them, and can often get interrupted. So until we get our brains up, we're going to stick to the small quick moves. Basically, that's the strategy behind that. That went on a bit, but you get what's going on. So again, stats, money, and Ogamon's going to drop us another chip, another HP chip actually. And Agamon's going to drop us a small recovery. And we finally learned a new move. Excellent. So Dynamic Kick is a melee ability, as you can imagine, and we can stick that on Greymon if we want to mix up our moves a bit. We can actually take a quick peek at this before we decide what we're going to do next. So Gandalf and his fuckboys, having been defeated for the second time, decide to flee once again. Now our main character isn't fast enough to catch him, unfortunately, and he disappears into the elevator. So pick up a HP chip, pick up our small recovery, and head out here into the elevator once we get the buttons correct. Here we go. So we're going to chase this guy out onto the cliff tops and see what happens. So earlier on we could see across to this area, but we couldn't access it, and now we're here. I always find that little circular island in the middle is kind of strange, because that is actually a part of the map you can access, but all it has is those 3 good Burimon and whatever sort of cult ritual they're fucking getting up to across there. I don't know. Now, I mentioned earlier on that the speedrunners have a special trick of running past the Agamon. There is another trick you can do here, where you come across, you touch this ledge. Again, this is not from me knowing how to do this. This is only me observing speedrunners who are really good at the game. They come back to here, they often pause unpause to manipulate the RNG, and then they can run down an invisible line there and walk straight past the Scoburamon without having to fight him. Now again, my ass is sad and doesn't know how to do any of the cool tricks, so we're going to have to do it the old school way and kick this guy's butt. We're unfortunately going to have to use another MP floppy here. And we're also going to heal up with 1 medium recovery, just in case this Gaburimon turns out to be Bruce Lee and slaps us in the face with a roundhouse kick or something like that. Keep our HP topped up. The reason that this move has paralysed Greymon in the chamber, that sometimes you see that yellow thing there in which the timer counts down from 10 or whatever it is, that's often because the Gaburimon used an ice move on us. Greymon being a fire type, it has like an extra bonus of paralysing. But also I think that ice move, the one in which the hail flies across the screen, that also has an added bonus of paralysing. So that's why that sometimes occurs. Decent stats for fighting the that little guy, which is decent, I'll take it. And we're going to nip across this bridge here. Again, we're still hunting Ogremon, but something else is cock blocking us right now. Help me, says a voice from above. I hear a voice. Anybody there? Anybody there? You fucking... Did I stutter, motherfucker? Yes, there is. Help me, the ground is bulging up. You gotta be kidding me. I need to catch a bandit, mate. I don't really have time for this. No, it's true, I hear some machinery noise going on. A machine must be coming from Ogremon's hideout. You must have done something wrong there, mate. Do you want me to help you or do you not? Because you're not really going the right way. I did many things. It could be the elevator. I'll go back into the hideout and check. So basically, we've got a friend up here who has been affected by us taking the elevator up to the surface. It's actually raised the ground and now they're stuck. Now, the reason we've came through here, obviously in search of Ogremon, is to catch him. But there's also a machine hidden behind this wall in which there's a defense chip. And we're going to have to ditch something. Let's eat in... let's have a quick think for a second, because we want to use that HP chip, I imagine, because in order to get Metal Greymon, our target is 4,000 HP. Now we're sitting at 2,573, so if we're realistically hoping to get that goal, we're going to need to do some chip crunching, especially because we haven't actually spent that much time in the gym yet. This is a strategy that some players might not agree with, but we're gonna go for it in the hopes of getting Metal Greymon. So we'll hang on to our defense chip for now, and if you can see just across there, just in the corner of the screen, the Digimon that's actually in need of our help is actually Shellmon. And we can go about helping Shellmon soon. So what we're actually going to do is, this is a new area again, called Friesland. But that is for another time. I just wanted to show you that real quick, because obviously we were supposedly meant to be chasing Ogremon, but we're not going to head into there just now. We're going to come back for his sorry ass later on. And because I'm a dumbass, we're going to have to now fight Gaburimon again. But that's fine. We'll come back for Ogremon, he'll get his day. But for now we're going to let him escape. Heal his wounds and nurse his cronies back to full HP. Let's use an MP floppy here real quick. Give us some mana, and also mean as well use a small recovery just to keep us healthy. In order to help Shellmon, we're going to actually take the elevator back down to the hideout and also explore a bit of the hideout. Because as I said, there's going to be new accessible rooms that we want to access and pick up the items that are in there. Alright, laters, bitch. I'm lucky. He's lucky didn't faceplant off the side of the cliff, because that could have been awkward. These guys sometimes drop meat, which is what I expect this is. Okay. Might have been another one of those fucking customers from Monochromon's shop. This is actually a good opportunity for us to use our porta potty, because we're going to need to clear out some space in our inventory, and the nearest bathroom is quite far away. I don't think there's one inside the hideout, and although there might be one inside Friesland, we don't want to mess about in there too long, because again, Greymon doesn't like the climate, there's a chance he could get sick, and we don't actually need to be in there right now. So let's check his weight before we feed him. Again, Phil's weight is looking pretty shit, so we're going to feed him giant meat. If he was to take a few extra meats here, we wouldn't complain. He's not for now, so we're just going to leave it at that, I guess. We're going to walk back along to the hideout and take this elevator back down. and see what we can find down here. So here's the swag pad that we were in earlier. Luckily the Agumon are no longer here. They've all evacuated because of the ass kicking we laid down on their boss. Pass through this little area with a fridge. And the trick that I can't do yet. We're going to have a peek in here. See what we can find, because this is one of my favourite rooms in the game. So inside here we have no enemies, but we do have a lot of computers. We're going to pick up a defense chip for our troubles. But that is not all. Behind chest number 2, we have a something. Okay, so that's a special offense disc. That is an item that we can use in battle. Normally I don't buy those because they're expensive, but we can actually sell it for quite a lot of money if we decide to do that. Again, we've got a full inventory because we haven't yet picked up the enhanced bag, which is quite frustrating, but based on what we were saying earlier, I think it's time we took some more chips to try and steroid our weak ass up a bit. Is he going to take 2 in a row? Good job, Phil. I'm impressed. So rather than discarding stuff, we're just gonna pick up these chips real quick. So that's chest number 3, and we've got another chest down here, which I believe has a, is it a sirloin? It's a sirloin. Holy shit! So basically, sirloin is a steak, as a lot of you guys will know anyway. That's like the better version of the giant meat that we have. Puts your weight up 3, and it makes your Digimon extremely full when you eat it. Now we can't buy that in the city yet, so it would have been cool to pick it up there, but because our inventory's full, it's not that big a deal. We're just gonna jet on back to the city, I think is the correct decision here. Okay, so there's actually, now that I think about it, the thing that we need to come back and do in the Ogre Fortress can't be triggered yet until we help Shellmon. Now, to access Shellmon, we would have to go around the other side of Great Canyon and not up through the elevator, because when we go up through the elevator, it fucks up the terrain. So we're going to leave that for just now, and come back for Shellmon. We're going to let him hang in there a little while longer. Pick up our giant meat for the day, and head round to the bank. Now we could actually deposit our offense chip inside the bank, but I think what we'll do is we'll actually just munch on that as well, real quick. Okay, awesome. Good job, Phil. And I think what we will also do is rest a while inside Digimon's house. Get some of our stats back. We will probably also go down to Monochromon's shop and sell some of the items that we don't need, mainly the special offense disc, and get some money for that, and replenish some of the items that we spent while out fighting Gandalf and the fuckboys. Now, I wasn't going to do this all in one episode, but I think that because the last few episodes were kind of mediocre in my opinion, we're going to just make this an extra extended one. And we're just going to do the majority of the bandit fights in one sitting and just get that shit done. We'll train for the last couple of hours before Phil needs to sleep. When he goes to sleep, it'll give us some of our stats back. But another thing we could actually do while we're here is pick up some of our chips from the bank. Mostly the HP and MP chips are the ones that I'm most concerned about. So again, this is going to be a pretty much a steroid ep, in which we consume a lot of our chips in order to hit the road to Metal Greymon target that we're after. Now, normally when I play this game, I like to save the stat buff chips, right? Because they're very rare, they're quite expensive, you only get them normally from boss fights and from item chests, and I don't like burning them all in one Digimon. It might not make a lot of sense to people, and I completely appreciate that. But in this case, because Phil is our first champion and we kind of want to get Metal Greymon, I'll talk about this in a minute because that's also quite an interesting topic. Although we kind of want to get Metal Greymon, I'm not really comfortable burning all of our chips on one Digimon. So that is kind of weird, but at the same time, I think we're just going to put all our eggs in one basket and commit to Phil and his Digivolution. This is going to be really sad if we don't hit the target, but I think that we can do it. What it would make sense to do is grab all of your stat requirements and all the chips until you've got all that you need to Digivolve to Metal Greymon, and then use everything at once, so that you can't use all your chips and then fade away, which could happen, and now that I think about it, might be a mistake. Whether that happens or not, only time will tell, but hopefully we can manage. In any case, these chips are going to help us defeat the third bandit fight. So what we'll do is we'll fill our offense chips, get that smashed up, and then do a bit of training. What we want to train in, I'm not actually too sure now that I think about it. It might end up being... It might be MP. We'll take our final offense chip, and we'll train a session in MP. Again, I'm pretty sure he's going to go to sleep after this. If not this one, definitely the next one. Just going to put that up, which is also going to put our defense up, and we're going to head to sleep. So that is going to be us stacked up fully on the snooze front. We're going to grab our large meats for the day, and I'm going to meet you guys in Great Canyon, where we're going to gear up and get ready for the bandits. So I'll see you guys in a small bit. Alright guys, we are back coming into the top of Great Canyon. We've just crossed over the invisible bridge, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to quickly mention to you guys before we hit Friesland and try and find the third bandit location of where Gandalf and the Fuckboys are hiding out. Now, off screen, I took the liberty of quickly buffing up Phil's weight, because it was I just checked before we finally left the city to make sure everything was in order before leaving, and his weight was at the lowest I've ever seen it, which at the time it was like 12 or something shit like that. So we've basically just stuffed 6 giant meats down Phil's face, because I don't want him to be at an unhealthy point of, yeah, basically unhealthy, because again, some people could argue that the weight is actually not that important, but at the same time, I also have a feeling that how healthy your Digimon is in terms of its weight can also affect your Digimon's life sometimes. Normally, if you keep them at a good weight limit, you're generally happier. Your Digimon will be happier. Where are you going, you fuck nugget? All right, okay, nice. And that basically, if the happier your Digimon is, the longer it's going to live for. And as we're trying to hit ultimate conditions on our first ultimate cycle, in which it's quite difficult, we want Phil to last as long as possible. Also because we're kind of fond of him at this point, so we don't want him passing away just yet. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys a quick bit about Metal Greymon as a Digivolution option as well, because obviously we're sticking all these chips into Phil, and some people might point out, well, Metal Greymon isn't actually that good of an ultimate in the beginning of the game, which a couple of you guys have actually pointed out in the comment section, and to be fair, you are actually completely correct. Now, you might think, oh, how can Metal Greymon be shit, Jack? Because in the series, Metal Greymon's like a staple character. You've got him in the thumbnail of most of your videos. Why is he so bad in the game? Now, in the beginning, Metal Greymon doesn't have a lot of access to decent move types. He can access, or he can use an ability called Metal Splinter, which is an extremely weak metal ability, and it's not actually that great. That's a cheeky, in case you're wondering what that was, it's a cheeky Mojimon. He's actually a trader, and we'll come back to him one day when we're not dying of freezing temperatures and risking our lives to kill bandits. So, back to the Metal Greymon topic. Why are we going for Metal Greymon if he's not that good in the beginning? He only knows a couple of machine type moves, and they're not that great. You don't have a lot of access to multiple machine type moves, and so why are we doing it? Now, the answer to that question, just as we encounter Huemon, we'll take a quick second to talk about this. We want to hit our first ultimate first time around. You don't have to do this, but because we're doing a let's play, we're going to just go for it. We're going to use our chips, because they're there to be used, in fact. And when we hit our first ultimate, our tamer skill is going to go up. That's going to help our next ultimate grind a lot, and so it's always good to kind of start off on a good leg. So we're going to go for our Metal Greymon ultimate. Hopefully we can achieve it, because it's not guaranteed. Phil could pass away, which would be extremely frustrating given the investment we've given him in terms of all of our chips that we've picked up from boss fights, but I still think we can manage it, assuming he lasts until the age 13-14. That will be pushing the boat out a bit because that's exactly when champion Digimon tend to pass away. But we're going to go for it anyway. Now, back to Huemon. Will you listen to my story? There's a beach cave near here where I rest, but some mean guys kicked me out and lost my important treasure there. So our friend Huemon is actually blind. He can't see us and he's just chilling here. He's been kicked out of his house by some wankers. And we have to basically go in and sort this out. So of course we're going to help him because we love Huemon. He's an absolute legend and he's absolutely massive as well. We're going to scoot on to Huemon's back in the middle of Friesland, in the ice part of Friesland, and head off to his secret beach cave. Now luckily, it just so happens that this is the third hangout of Ogremon and the Goonbag squad. So we're going to go and investigate. Again, hopefully Phil's up to this. We'll see. This is quite a tricky fight. And you guys are going to find out why right now. What? Oh boss, we're in trouble now. Yeah, fucking damn right yous are in trouble. What are you guys doing? I'm impressed. You found the new Ogre Fortress. Going to commit more crimes? More drug-infused, filthy crimes of death? Of course, hee, I won't let you do that. You better get the fuck out of this cave. This time it's different. What do you mean? Well, it's different for us as well, because little do they know we've actually steroided up fucking the shit out of Phil. Oh. Well, that definitely throws a spanner in the works. Master Digimon, go ahead and do it, please. He's your bodyguard, eh? Hehe, you're finished. Well, we're going to make a bitch out of your bodyguard, so you better prep his anus. 3,500 HP, 2,000 MP. Hopefully, we kick these guys' ass. Now, because we popped the brain chip, we actually have a new move. Nice. Good job, Phil. I was hoping that would come into play. Moderate is somewhere in the middle of attack and do whatever the fuck you want, except Phil will also add in some running about into his moveset. He will use different moves instead of just the strongest attack, and it can often be good if you're basically trying to stall for time. Normally, you'll find that at the end of fights, sometimes you're trying to get the last couple of letters on your finisher. Let's say you get into a really awkward situation where you run out of MP and you don't have enough mana to finish the battle, you've got no items and you need that finisher button. The moderate button or ability to call that in battle can sometimes be extremely useful. We're going to top up with a small recovery here. This fight's not going too bad, but if we get slapped by a couple of these Digimon moves, we might be in trouble, so we don't want to get KO'd and have to waste our only restore. Somehow all three of these guys are still on their feet. That's not going to last much longer. What you want to be doing in these kind of fights is picking off Ogremon and Gabumon first, and then dealing with Digimon at the end. But Phil's decided to go straight for the big fucking meat and potatoes of the fight. Straight for the Kingpin, which I respect, you know. Phil's got massive balls, and who are we to tell him that he can't do that? So Digimon's going to take it in the gub. He's going to be dead. Ogemon's finished using the move. We're going to hit ult and hopefully get this off. And if we are lucky... Alright, we close this fight out nice and tidily. That wasn't a bad fight. Obviously, we used a lot of chips to get to this stage, but still, we got some decent stat returns, and we'll take it, because we didn't have to use as much healing and MP items. Darn, so the fuckboys, as they do best, flee the scene of the crime, in case Phil continues to unleash his fury and anger upon them. So Huemon's going to stick the nut straight into the back of Ogemon's face. Give up! Ugh. Come to the city and work and you can repay your sins. Doesn't matter how many innocent children you've beaten up or how many people you've robbed, we can forgive you. Alright, got it. I'll go to the city. Ha, decent. Wait a minute, what? Alright, so it turns out this fuck nugget cucked us, preyed on our merciful good sense of justice. We tried to give him the get out of jail free card, but he decides to throw it back in our face, which ultimately he's going to regret, because when we see him next time, we're going to beat the ever-loving shit out of him, and Phil's going to have his way his way with him. So, for the time being, Ogre escapes our clutches for the 3rd time. And we give Huemon back his cave. Now, Huemon mentions something here about treasure, because inside the cave, there's some treasure that Huemon's been keeping, and he couldn't have access to because the Ogremon and his friends took the cave. So Huemon's going to join the city. Where the fuck is Huemon going to go? And we're still in Friesland, so we're going to pop an autopilot and find out where Huemon is. So here we are. And if we take a few steps forward and up to the right, we now have a pier in the village, and Huemon lives here, which is awesome. I'll take you to the ocean, that's my job, says Huemon. So we have 2 new options to travel to directly from the city. We can head to the secret beach cave or somewhere called Factorial Town. We're going to head to the secret beach cave, which is just where we've left, and we're going to clean up the end of this episode. So there is only one room through here, past the area in which we fought the goonbags, and pick up this. A Mr. Egg. Now, what that is actually the first Digivolution item that we've picked up. And that will allow one champion Digimon to digivolve into Digitamamon, who is a giant egg. And I'll throw his picture up on screen if you guys aren't familiar or need a reminder of who that is. Huemon, can we talk to you again, please? Excellent. We're going to head back to the city. We're going to rest up. We're going to deposit items in the bank, and we're going to close this episode out. Because although it's been a long episode, I hope you guys didn't mind that. 48 minutes. We're going to do a bit of cutting and editing, so maybe that'll shrink down a bit. But we have done quite a lot of ass kicking in terms of the Ogre bandits this episode. We've done a lot of stat buffing, a lot of weight buffing as well. A lot of gains have been made via chips. We're going to talk to you guys again tomorrow. If you liked the episode, feel free to leave us, me and Phil, a rating. And always feel free to leave us guys a comment if you fancy doing that as well. And we will see you tomorrow. What we're going to be doing yet, I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out overnight and talk to you guys then. Alright, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.